My name is Ardain Isma, and I am the daughter and also the coordinator for Village Care Publishing. And this is the author that I represent, which is my father, Dr. Ardain Isma, and he has his latest acclaimed novel, Bittersweet Memories of Last spring. So it's such a success, and we're doing another conversation part 2. So first things first, Bittersweet is now critically acclaimed, and many people are now asking for book 2 because of such beautiful fiction and also the essence of immigration. So when will it be available?
Well, I really have to make a very small correction. For several conversations and interviews that I have done, I said that book 2 would be available no later than December 15th. But unfortunately, I have to retract from that. It will be after the end of the, well, it's going to be the beginning of next year. I do not have a date certain, but it's going to be on a certain date. Okay, not deep into 2023, but it's going to be sometimes, between, I would say, February or March.
Okay. All right. And also, a lot of people are now talking about this new phenomenon of immigrant fiction. I just have to make a correction, or you can make the correction. Is immigrant fiction a new phenomenon, or has it always been in literature?
Again, this is another question. This question also. I have met a lot of people, writers, readers, and of course people in media, asking these specific questions after they read the Bittersweet Memories of Last spring. I have to say, this is immigrant fiction has been here for the longest, but this current resurgence, or this current rush to understand what is, or what one can be found within the immigrant fiction, is because of recently some immigrant writers have been very vocal and also at the forefront of this particular genre. And I have to say that writers like Mark Budman, who, by the way, we just released his a new novel titled "The Most Excellent Immigrant." Isn't that a sexy title? So yeah. So is this to tell you that this is it's not a new trend, but it's a trend that is trending at the moment.
Oh,
I would say.
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I'm Ardain Isma Junior, the eldest son here. I have a few questions myself. Again, this will be your third publication, right? For sure. And what is truly the foundation for your immigrant fiction literature?
Because I'm an immigrant myself,
For sure.
and because I think that it is important to give voices to, I'm not going to say the voiceless, but people whose voices could have been completely ignored if it weren't people like me or other writers who have I would say delved into this particular genre. Because what immigrant fiction really is, it's just a retelling of stories of men and women and children who have left their countries in search of a better life elsewhere.
For sure.
And if you see the story between the covers of Bittersweet Memories of Last spring, it begins actually and the high seas.
Right.
But the
Right.
protagonist is trying to make his way
Right.
into the United States.
It's the beginning of the book already starts off on a high climax. If you're into that type of gut wrenching type things, it's very action packed in the beginning.
Right.
Him being uncomfortable, not sure what's coming ahead, which is understandable. Venturing to the unknown can be very scary. So, but my next question, my follow-up question is of course this is fiction, but as we all know, a good bit of fiction is based off reality. Is there certain parts of your past or people that you know that you've pulled from to create this beautiful world that you've created in Bittersweet?
But it's every single person. Every one of the interviewers, okay?
Right.
Every one of them would ask this specific question.
For sure.
And exactly, but it's precisely for what you say, because fiction reflects reality.
Of course.
And then when you write some, I would say, vivid realities, things that ordinary people live on a daily basis, especially if you are an immigrant.
Right.
It doesn't have to be an immigrant living in the United States, but if you are someone who has been transplanted into a new society, okay, then you would have to go through these daily stressors until you can find your way into a comfortable living.
Okay.
So this story, I would say, in essence, a lot to do with my own experiences as an immigrant, as a young person arriving into this country and trying to make a living for myself.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay.
Okay. My next question is, will book 2 carry the same title, or will you put will it be a minor change on the title and also in the story as well?
I think I gave it's a little sneak preview on that. I think it was back a few weeks ago when I had a conversation with Rashmi Dash, and she's a writer from a writing community, but she lives in suburban Atlanta. And then we were talking about this same particular subject. There's going to be a very slight change on the title, but basically the title will be the same, with a minor change in it. But of course, it's a sequel. The story continues.
Right, it's the same franchise.
Exactly.
Right.
So from that cliffhanger, that ends part of book 1, we'll pick up from there.
Now, I have a question. Picking back what my sister was saying, the next book 2, will the tone be different than in the first one? Because sometimes a lot of novel series, sometimes the tone changes, sometimes the tone stays the same, sometimes it varies. So.
There's going to be a very slight change in the tone, but the fundamental, I would say, the flow of the story, the moving, upward until it reaches its climax,
Right.
would continue. Remember now, in book 1, the story ends as the protagonist actually had just graduated from school,
Right.
and he has yet to secure its own niche that will ultimately catapult him into the realm of society, So it has yet to happen. So in book 2, it's going to be a drive towards that.
Okay.
Whether he will succeed or not,
Right.
but it's going to be a quest to reach that climax.
So that
to reach the pinnacle of his success.
So that part of the journey will be more detailed in the second book.
As intense, I would say.
Okay.
Because remember now, he was a college student.
Right.
And then he struggles a lot, with his own personal feelings.
For sure.
He makes a lot of mistakes in dealing with his own little girlfriend.
Right, yeah,
And of course, that's what makes him human.
Right.
As what Smith Dash also recognizes, and other people like Alice Liddell, who say that Irving is a flawed character because he makes his mistake. And I love that. And you know what? Because most people love flawed characters.
Right, because it shows
exactly, it reflects too much of the reality of we live.
That's the way we
If I were to write novelistic prose based on what I would call the Cornelian hero, the story would be too far removed from reality. You don't expect a character to be straight. This is how it should be.
Right, for sure. For sure.
But in the reality, you just let the character, drives his own course.
Absolutely.
And in the process, he will make or she will make some mistakes and learn from them. And that's how we all as human beings.
I think that's what makes us who we are.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of humanity, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
So I know you belong to a very thriving and colorful writing community in Twitter. Are there any new titles from the group for this up and coming holiday season?
I just mentioned earlier, my good friend Mark Budman. He just released a wonderful title. It's called The Most Excellent Immigrant, of which I had the pleasure to read even before it was published.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's another immigrant fiction. Other people also have works, writing projects on the works. And then I can name a few. I have Anne Marina, and then I also have Alice Liddell, who's working on her own project. And then I also have C.T. Moore. She's is a writer from Britain, and she's also writing on her own book project. I have so many, and then of course Dr. Mayoshi Gordon, who wrote the book Broken.
Yes.
So she's writing another book. So most of the writers from my writing community on Twitter are working on different type of project.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and multi-genre.
Such a vast community. Such a vast community.
Exactly.
Now, from Alicia Maldonado, your debut, to Midnight Comes at Noon, to now we're heading into the Bittersweet franchise. It's getting a part 2, which is the first in your series of novels. They all seem to carry a similar theme of either immigrant or transplanting from place to place. Like Alicia, she left Cuba, she went to Haiti. Midnight is more so in Haiti, but still dealing with the turmoils of what's going on in that era. Now we have the young gentleman leaving Haiti, coming to the States, eyes are wide open, and now we're going to see more of his journey in the second book. Would you venture off into another subgenre of fiction, or do you plan on writing any nonfiction novels?
Beautiful. I'm just going to start from the first
For sure.
part of the question.
For sure.
Midnight at Noon ends also on an immigrant or immigration journey.
Right.
If you remember, after the military debacle and the repression that followed, a lot of people fled. They flee to the Bahamas, where the protagonist was trying to get there too.
Right.
And then this is how the story, the final chapter of the story really ended. He was on the journey to leave Haiti, fleeing repression, government repression.
Now, technically, you could make a part 2 out of that one.
Yeah, so people are asking, but it's hard to do a part 2 of Midnight at Noon.
Yeah.
For the same reason, it would be too far removed from reality.
Right.
So, because Midnight at Noon is a completely different book.
Right.
Although it has beautiful prose of part of Haiti where I was born.
Right.
But it is, first and foremost, a political novel.
No, for sure.
You know, with graphic details, war and, you know, and revolution. So, this is the fundamental message.
Right, for sure.
And Midnight, which what we call the class antagonism. This is a group of people, revolutionaries, and the mission to change Haiti. So, but Bittersweet Memories of Last.
Right.
It is a story of an immigrant.
It is.
You know,
a love story.
It's the embodiment of people who leave their homes for whatever reason, okay, to migrate to other places in search of a better life.
It's true.
So I guess the last question would be, okay, people are still asking, you know, where can you specifically find Bittersweet? You know, where can you
just before we get to that, I think that the second phase of your question was that
would you venture out into other parts of fiction or non-fiction?
Let me get to that answer your question. Yeah, I will write nonfiction. As a matter of fact, I've already started on the project. It's a critique of Antonio Filman.
Okay.
Masterpiece titled "The Equality of Human Races." It's a critique of that book, and then
book.
Yeah, it was. This book was published in 1885, at a time where most people in the world had some misconception regarding people of African descent or African.
Right, for sure.
In other words, black were inferior. So it is a counter argument to that, using beautiful, you know, statistics and you know, scientific reasoning, facts also, to refute a book that was written and published in 1850 by a white supremacist by the name, Frenchman by the name Count Arthur de Gobineau, who wrote The Inequality of Human Races, try to use the craniometric supposedly line to show that the brain of a black person is smaller, and so therefore it was created to be subject to the white race. You know, his whole argument is to demonstrate that. I mean, Filman's argument is to refute all those things. And the book was critically acclaimed within the scientific community, but it was shelved as soon as it was published for obvious reasons.
Right, of course.
So, but I have, I'm in the, I would say,
beginner stages
phase of it. Not just the beginning stages, but I would say I'm in the middle of. It's not going to be a condensed document, but it'll be enough for writers and readers to understand.
For sure.
My critiques of, you know, of the book itself.
For sure.
Yeah, and of course I plan on writing my own biography, so that's going to be nonfiction. You can call it
obviously.
Yeah. But of course, that you just pointed out earlier, if Bittersweet has some reflection,
for sure.
Of course, Bittersweet is.
Well,
I would say,
for sure. A lot of names are references to people in our own family.
Okay. All right. So So you see, last question was.
Okay, my last question was, you know, people still love the book, and you know, people are really asking, where can you specifically find a good copy of the book?
It sounds silly, you know what? The book can be found everywhere they sell books.
All platforms.
Everywhere. Even you can find Bittersweet Memory, not just Bittersweet, but all my books, wherever they sell, including Walmart.
Right, no, this is true.
Including Walmart. If you go to a Walmart store and you don't find the physical book there, but you could go to Walmart website
and order it.
And you can order it there.
Okay.
Even the library.
I always encourage people I always have to say that. Because I know most people would go to Amazon when looking for books.
Right.
So, yeah, you can find it there too.
Right, for
Yeah,
sure.
and the click of a mouse.
Or Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, Books and Minion, Books, how do you say that? Books and Books,
right,
Book
right.
Depository,
Right, true. Or your library.
and Amazon France, Amazon Britain, Amazon Brazil, Amazon Australia,
Right.
anywhere in the world where they sell books. You want Bittersweet,
For sure.
you'll get it.
Absolutely.
Okay?